Michigan hockey fans, we are at the Salt Lake City Sports Complex as Michigan women's hockey is set to take on the Utah Utes. The game before us is still going on as there is 9 minutes and 45 seconds left to go. The Utah men's ACHA team is up 9-1. And it has been a penalty-laden game, at least 5 major penalties to Wyoming. The Cowboys have had a steady march to the penalty box and off the ice, as many of the Wyoming players are in the dressing room right now. Right after this game ends, Michigan and Utah women's Division I teams will hit the ice for warm-ups. Then they'll Zamboni the ice, and then we will get going. So we'll just let you watch a little bonus hockey here as things running late. We've been told that Wyoming has had a tough day. They end up getting to the rink 2 hours late, even before all the penalties. At this point, we're just hoping that everyone stays healthy throughout this game. It's 9 minutes, 9 seconds left to go here in this contest before the Michigan Wolverines take on Utah. It's a fun rink here. We're in the main rink. Yesterday we were in the smaller of the two rinks. That is where Massachusetts and Montana State are playing as we speak. There's actually a workout facility for the Utah students just on the left, and you can watch the game while on the treadmill, which is kind of cool. They also have a couple bikes just across the way. If you do want to watch this game, if we have any technical issues or stream issues, you can always take a look at YouTube. We tweeted out the Utah's YouTube channel. They have a multi-camera set up with a couple of broadcasters, so if you want to check that out, if you're a little sick of my voice, it's understandable. You can always go to YouTube and take a look at the Utah stream and watch that. We are very, very grateful for the hospitality of University of Utah letting us broadcast here and letting the Michigan team be part of this Beehive showcase. .804 left to go in this game. ACHA, I believe, Division I men's contest between Utah and Wyoming. Wyoming in the brown sweaters with the yellow numbers and the yellow accents, with the cowboy riding the bucking bronco on the front. Utah in their white jerseys with Utah and black lettering across the front, numbers in red on the shoulders and on the back, black shorts. 9-1 is the lead for the Utah men's team as they're looking to add more. Won't try and provide any play-by-play because I don't have any of the team memorized. That is going to be a penalty, putting a Wyoming player into the box. And short bench already for the Cowboys. So bonus hockey action. Still the game before Michigan's game. Yeah, it looks like one of the Utah players is being escorted off the ice as well, as it continues to be a penalty-laden game. 5 major penalties at minimum to Wyoming with game misconducts. 5 players were escorted off. 2 Utah players have been escorted off so far, including that last player. 4-on-4 hockey now for 2 minutes between these two squads here in the third. 7:27 left to go. I don't even want to see the game work up and write up and all the paperwork filed after this. It's going to be about 10 pages long. As we're doing this, let's actually go through and let's do some pregame work and talk about our game coming up as Michigan 7-2-1 on the season. It's going to be a fairly quick turnaround here. Again, warm up and then Zamboni the ice, and then we'll go right after this game, which is under 7 minutes left to go. Michigan 7-2-1 on the season. Utah 8-6 on the season. They played 4 more games than Michigan. Michigan has 37 points on the season for a 3.7 point goal per game average. That was not hurt by the 18-0 win yesterday over Montana State. That definitely bumped that up. Michigan has only allowed 14 goals against. That's a 1.4 goal against average against the Wolverines. On the other side, Utah has 67 points total. Would be 4.78 goals per game, so high-powered offense for the Utes. They've given up 31 goals. That's 2.21 a game, so they score about a goal more a game on average than Michigan, and Michigan gives up about 0.8 less goals a game on average. Let's take a look. Michigan's so far started off this season back versus Michigan State. That was all the way back on October 1st. That was a 3-3 tie at Mount Clemens Ice Arena. Then they fell 3-1 at Adrian College over at Arrington Ice Arena. They swept Lake Superior State. That was up at the Sioux, 1-0 for the first game and 2-0 for the second game. That was October 8th and 9th. Then they did face this University of Utah team over at Yost Ice Arena. That was back on October 13th. That was a 2-1 victory for Michigan. If we pull up that sheet here and talk a little bit about that. As Michigan had a goal in the first, both teams had goals in the second and no goals in the third for 2-1. Michigan had 42 shots on goal versus Utah, who had 25. Utah was 0 for 2 on the penalty, serving 8 penalty minutes with 4 infractions. And Michigan 0 for 4 on the penalty. They had 4 penalty minutes with 2 infractions. Started off in the first. DeCrezi had a goal, that from Simmer at the 3-minute mark. Then in the second, it was Kistner scoring from Torrey at 7:32 to tie up the game. Michigan came back at the 13:48 mark as Kolwich from the blue line scored Evans on the assist, and that made it Michigan 2 and Utah 1. Penalties throughout that. Again, no scoring in the third. Penalties in the first. Megan Matthews went off for checking that at 7:59. Fish went off for holding at 16:32. Clean sheet as far as penalties go in the second. In the third at 8:59, it was Simmer going off for tripping. Then at 11:14, it was Hendry going off for tripping. Beck went off for Utah at 13:51 for holding, and then Kistner went off for roughing at 16:36. 4 minutes, 47 seconds left to go to Utah again. This time they're on the penalty kill. Utah men's ACHA team 9-1 over Wyoming. Yeah, Michigan after that game versus Utah then went and you find where I ended up here. They ended up hosting. There we go. They ended up hosting Indiana Tech for a game, beat them 3-2. That was back on October 21st. On October 22nd, Michigan went down to Indiana Tech, and Indiana Tech beat them 5-0. They then hosted Lake Superior State for 2 games at Yost Ice Arena, both on November 5th and November 6th. Michigan won the first game 5-2, and the second game they won 2-1. to nothing. Or excuse me, first game was 5-0. Second game was 2-0. That was the third and fourth shutout for Pontiac. Pontiac got her fifth shutout of the season so far. That was yesterday versus Montana State University. Let's dig into that game a little bit more. So again, 4:43 left to go here. That game yesterday started off with a Michigan goal at 17:55 as Gargiulo put Michigan up 1-0. Then it was a Montana State penalty for hooking at 16:32. Michigan put in a power play goal. That was Swanson with her first goal of the game. That put Michigan up 2-0. There was a Montana State penalty at 15:20 as they went off for hooking. Then a Michigan goal at 14:25 as Matthews scored from Gargiulo. Michigan took a penalty at 13:21. It was Goldberg going in for interference. Thomas had her first goal, I believe, of the season. I might be wrong about that, but I believe that was at 10:32 in the first yesterday. Then at 7:47, it was Lindahl with her first goal of the game. And then at 7:55, it was Katie German scoring for Michigan. So Michigan had a 6-0 lead at the end of one. In the second, at 19:18, Swanson scored, starting off the period, just less than 45 seconds into the period. Then Michigan had a goal at 13:52. Lindahl had her second goal of the game. At 11:18, it was Malashevsky scoring for Michigan. There was a penalty to Montana State at the 11-minute mark. That was slashing to Gale. Then at the 10:57 mark, Michigan scored Evans with her first goal of the game, that on the power play. At 9:40, Michigan scored Gargiulo with her second goal of the game. There was a penalty at 6:56 to Montana State. It was a bench minor. Michigan with the power play goal at 5:05 as Proctor had her first goal of the game. That was 11-0 at the end of two. 3:42 here left to go between the men's ACHA teams, Utah and the Wyoming Cowboys. In the third, Swanson started off the scoring again early, this time 30 seconds in at 19:30. That was her third goal and a hat trick for Swanson. Michigan Lindahl scored her second goal of the game at 17:58. Then there was a Michigan penalty at 13:52 as Goldberg went off for hooking. That was a 10-second power play for the Bobcats as then Gale went off for slashing at 13:41. Michigan had a goal. Matthews scored her second goal of the game at 13 minutes even. Another penalty, that one for hooking to Montana State. Michigan scored at 10:14. That should be a power play goal there, as I will mark that. That was Proctor with her second goal of the game. At 5:45, it was Malashevsky scoring her second goal of the game. And then at 3:23, finishing off the scoring, Matthews got her hat trick. And that made it 18-0. So scoring, Gargiulo had 2 goals. Swanson had 3 goals. Matthews had 3 goals. Thomas had a goal. Lindahl had 3 goals. Katie German had a goal. Malashevsky with 2 goals. Evans with a goal. And Proctor with 2 goals yesterday. That's a recap of what happened yesterday as 2:53 left in this game here. Again, 9-1 Utah in the lead over Wyoming in the men's ACHA battle. Did unfortunately have one erroneous score we reported yesterday. I don't know if it was me just not being able to read. It's most likely that. Or somehow it was wrong on the website when I first looked. Fortunately, the Michigan men's hockey team did fall to Minnesota yesterday. We had reported it as a 6-3 win for Michigan. Again, they had a number of players out with viruses, and Ciccolini, who took a big hit, was not able to come back. He took a big hit, I believe, in the game before. So they were down 6 players in the first game, got beat by Minnesota, and then down, I believe, 6 players again in the second game yesterday. A rare Thursday-Friday matchup at Yost for the men's squad. Let's take a look at, if we move over and take a look at our skater stats for Michigan. Leading all scorers, DeCreasy has 6 points on 5 goals and 1 assist. This, again, does not include all the tallies from yesterday that has not been entered as of yet on the ACHA website. So we'll keep an eye on that. But so DeCreasy, before everything shook out, 6 points, 5 goals, 1 assist. Simmer with 5 points on 3 goals and 2 assists. Eliason had 4 points on 1 goal and 3 assists. German. Katie German has 4 points on 1 goal and 3 assists. Obviously, she got a goal yesterday. Kolich with two goals for 2 points. Proctor with a goal and assist for 2 points. Gargiulo with a goal and assist for 2 points. Matthews with a goal and assist for 2 points. And Evans with 2 assists for 2 points. Obviously, that all changes. And if I get a little time, I'll write those down and update those as I can. Of course, my scoring is not official. 1 minute, 20 seconds left to go here in this game. Let's take a look at our goalie stats. Again, this does not count yesterday, although only 5 shots on goal by Montana State, so it's not going to drastically affect that. Is just waiting for it to come up. It's taking a few moments to load. There we go. So, Pontiff, 9 games played, 5 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie. And that should now be, of course, 7-2-1. 1.57 goals against average. That's going to drop just a little bit. And save percentage, .955. Tops at this point in the ACHA. Women's Division I of any goalies who have played more than 3 games. That will be just slightly better, having faced 5 shots and able to save all 5 shots yesterday. Of course, today, much more high-powered offense from the Utah Utes. We'll see exactly what that looks like in just a little bit. If we flip over and talk a little bit about Utah's schedule. They started off with a pair of games versus Arizona State on the road. Arizona State won the first game 2-0 and won the second game 3-2. That was back on September 30th and October 1st. There was a game with no score reported during Colorado versus Colorado and Utah back on October 7th. Still haven't seen any score reported on that. Then Colorado beat Utah 3-0 back on October 8th. Michigan then hosted them at Yost Dice Arena. We went over that game. That was a 2-1 win. By the way, 25.5 seconds left to go in this game. Then they went out and they visited Aquinas, beat Aquinas 3-2. So they had 7 road games before they finally hosted their first home game on October 21st. They had a pair of games versus Grand Canyon University, won the first one on October 21st, 3-2, then fell in the last one, 4-2 on the 22nd. They hosted University of Wyoming on October 28th and October 29th and beat them 13-0 and 10-0. Then they went out and visited Colorado State University and came away with 2 wins there, 4-2 in the first game on November 11th, and Utah won 8-2 on November 12th. They then faced Montana State University. That was on Thursday. That was a 16-4 win, and then they fell to University of Massachusetts Amherst yesterday. That was 5-1. As this game before us has just concluded, is Utah with the commanding 9-2 win. As again, we will have warm-ups. They will Zamboni the ice, and we will get going here. Maybe steal a chair here for my my writing stuff. Taking a look at the game yesterday, that was Utah versus Massachusetts. That game 5-1, 3 goals by UMass in the first, 1 goal by UMass in the second, 1 goal by the Utes, and then 1 goal in the third by Massachusetts for the 5-1 win. Shots on goal, 49 for UMass, 13 for Utah. UMass had 1 power play goal. They served 4 minutes of penalties, 2 infractions, and Utah had 6 penalty minutes for 3 infractions. It was O'Nelly scoring at the 1:30 mark from Patterson and Dunford. Then it was Reagan Patterson with her third goal of the season from Karlstein. Then at 18:05, it was Sarah Young, her first goal of the season from Manganaro, her second assist on the season. That made it 3-0 UMass coming into the second. Patterson got her second goal of the game, 4th of the season at 5:28. That is a second, and then the assist was the Wall's second assist of the season. At 9:50, Utah got on the board. Harris had her first goal of the game, 3rd goal of the season with the assist as well as Cruikshank. And then Utah finished off the scoring in the third as Paradis scored a goal, Cox with the assist, and Little. That was Paradis' first goal of the season. No penalties in the first. On the second, Cruikshanks took a tripping penalty at 14:35 as Michigan comes out onto the ice. Then at the 19:07 mark, Sarah Young went off for tripping for UMass. And in the third at 2:20, it was Karetza going off for a cross check. Then at 9:22, it was Utah's Hansen going off for slashing, and Kistner going off at 17:40 for interference. Matthews was the goaltender of note for Massachusetts. UMass faced 13 shots on goal, saved 12 of them. For Utah, it was D'Antonano, as she faced 47 shots on goal, saved 44 of them. Taking a look at some statistics for the skaters for the University of Utah. Kistner has the lead with 24 points set on 15 goals and 9 assists. Hansen has 18 points set on 6 goals and 12 assists. Cruikshank has 12 points on 9 goals and 3 assists. Caps has 12 points on 4 goals and 8 assists. Bai has 10 points on 4 goals and 6 assists. And Nielsen has 9 points on 6 goals and 3 assists, rounding out the top 6. I did one too many, but that's all right. So that is the folks you need to take a look at. 14, Kistner is the top scorer by a fair amount. Need to keep an eye on her. Hansen second to score, number 11 out there. Michigan in their road jerseys, the dark blue jerseys with the white stripes across the middle, Mays numbers on the back and on the sleeves, names on the back, and of course the famous winged helmets. Utah is in their home jerseys as they have their white tops, numbers in red on the back and on the sleeves, and with the red stripe around the middle, black shorts, white socks with a red stripe. As they have 10 minutes and 55 seconds counting down here. Let's take a look at the goalie statistics for Utah. Michigan playing Poneth pretty much the whole way, whereas it's been 3 goaltenders for the Utes. Olsen has played 2 games, 2 wins, no losses, no goals against, with a 100% save percentage. And the second goaltender is Griswold. She has 4 games played, 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 goals, 2.22 goals against average, 65 saves for a 903 save percentage. And then the most active goaltender is D'Antonano. And D'Antonano has 4 games played, 4 wins, 3 losses, 2.63 goals against average, and she has a 905 save percentage, having saved 202 shots on goal. Overall save percentage is 905, so very good save percentage for all 3 goaltenders combined, 2.23 goals against average. for the team. Well, as they are warming up, let's welcome everybody, and let's see if we can actually get the audio broadcast going, just in case we have any issues. It would not go yesterday, and I might have to see what's going on for my Spreaker here. It does not look like it's going to go, so that's okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, Michigan women's hockey is live and on the air. Welcome to the Salt Lake City Sports Complex, home of at least a portion of the Beehive Showcase. This game between Michigan and Utah is starting a bit late due to the game before getting off a bit late and having a unprecedented number of major penalties, at least that I've seen outside of beer league hockey. So we're getting warmed up here as the Utes and Michigan and warmed up. They'll resurface the ice, and then we will get going with this game. Again, Michigan having beaten the Utes at home. Utah looking to attempt to get a little payback here at home at the Beehive Showcase. And again, we teased this a little bit yesterday, but you might be wondering, is the Beehive Showcase, is Utah known for honeybee production? And they're actually 25th in the nation in honeybee production. You see the old school, there's a name for it and I'm missing it. Thank you so much for the Lindalls who are watching from Minnesota. We are so very grateful to you. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. It's our pleasure to broadcast. So what's with all the old school, kind of the cone beehive symbol all over Salt Lake City in the state of Utah? It's on the state capitol. It's all over the place. Well, they're not huge bee production, but it really comes from having the promised land being the land of milk and honey. So at least from the research I did, as much as Google's research, what happened was John Smith, coming to Utah, brought with him 5 honey bee hives. And so they brought that, and it became a big symbol of teamwork and hard work and working together to keep the beehive going. And it became so pervasive. It's on the beehive symbol is on the temple here in Salt Lake City and all over, that it became more than just a Mormon symbol. It really became a symbol of Utah, and you'll see it all over here as you have a large number of beehive named businesses, on all of the road signs. There's the old school cone beehive. It's all over here. So just interesting to know that that's where it came from. Really, the promised land being the land of milk and honey, and Utah being the promised land, creating John Smith, creating a community here. So a little interesting trivia there for you. As Michigan getting warmed up again, as we were saying earlier, if you were not getting that bonus hockey between Utah men's hockey and Wyoming, Michigan 7-2-1 on the season. Utah 8-6 on the season. Should have looked. I don't believe Utah at this moment is ranked in the top 10. We'll double check. Massachusetts is who we're going to play tomorrow. Michigan is number 6 in the ACHA rankings. So Utah has 67 points total. Of course, they played four more games than Michigan. They've played 14 games. Michigan's only played 10. But they have an average of 4.47 goals a game. So Utah, a very prolific offense. And their defense, 31 goals a game. That would be a 2.21 goals a game average. Utah allowing him. If you compare that to Michigan, lower offensive production even after the 18-0 win yesterday. Michigan has 37 points, that in 10 games for a 3.7 goals against average. That's just about a goal, 1.08 goals less per game than the Utes. Taking a look defensively, Michigan has 14 goals allowed for the season. That's an average of 1.4 goals per game. And Utah with 2.21 goals per game. Michigan 0.8 goals to the better on the defensive side. So it's the unstoppable offense versus the immovable solid defense. A little hyperbole there, but it is Utah's strength is offense, Michigan's strength is defense. We'll see what happens if Michigan can sweep the season series here and get their second win of the Beehive Showcase. Again, tomorrow, Michigan will face UMass. UMass ranked in the top 10 in the ACHA standings. That is a 10:30 game here Mountain Time. It will be 12:30 over back in Michigan. So you can watch a little Michigan women's hockey before you try and watch some NFL football. Should be a fantastic game versus UMass. Right now, UMass has a 3-0 lead over Montana State. That in the first. They have 17 shots on goal versus 4 for Montana State. As we are counting down, let's play a little bit of the Michigan Marching Band, and we will be right back with your opening puck drop for the first period. pause the moment of music for a little bit. We'll come right back to that. But I just want to say it's fantastic. There's a number of Michigan fans, folks with the big Go Blues sign over there, and we appreciate all those fantastic fans who were able to actually make their way down wearing the maize and blue and cheer for this team. And thank you for you cheering wherever you are at, watching and supporting this team. We are super grateful to you. Thank you for taking time out of your day. And if you've been able to breathe yet, if you watched that Michigan football game, if you actually have your heart slowed down, we're hoping for an exciting game, but maybe not quite as exciting as that. But it is a fantastic day for Michigan sports as you do have this wonderful Michigan women's hockey game here taking on Utah. As we're getting set, Coach Tribiano and Glisson getting everything set on the bench. Coach Inman here as well. Coach Upton, I have not seen. I do not believe he was able to make the trip. If you do want to watch, if there's any issues with our broadcast, or you just want to listen to some other play-by-play folks, Utah does have a stream going. It looks like they're streaming most of the games that are in the big rink, not the smaller rink, which is why we were the only broadcast yesterday for Michigan versus Montana State. But in the big rink here, they do have a broadcast, multi-camera broadcast with the switcher and close-ups and everything. So that is going to be, if you go to YouTube and just search Utah Hockey, it's there, and that should be live now or shortly there afterwards. Looks like they have a fantastic lady doing play-by-play or color over there. That's wonderful. Always love to see more folks get an opportunity in the broadcasting arena, especially in play-by-play and color commentating. So we have about 6 minutes and 45 seconds counting down as they're resurfacing the ice here. I'm not sure if they'll have the teams come out any earlier once the ice is resurfaced. We have just a couple strips to go here. Again, we're late because the game beforehand, Wyoming versus Utah, the ACHA men's teams. Wyoming was apparently 2 hours late. Then it was a constant... it was really a WWE wrestling match as well. It was, as there were at minimum, I think, 6 major penalties to Wyoming with game misconducts. It's associated with each of those. So getting that all figured out takes a little bit longer than your average hockey game. I think Utah had 2 game misconducts, or at least 2 5-minute penalties. So Utah ended up winning that one. The men's team ended up winning 9-2. The women's team will try and follow suit, hopefully not with the physical play, but with the win. Michigan would love to try and sweep Utah, having won back at Yost Ice Arena earlier this year. So it was fun to drive up here yesterday, or drive in. We drove in Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, came out. And it was nice to come up here in the beautiful mountains and everything. Just a very different. You don't see big mountains outside of Yost Ice Arena, so very different landscape out here. Certainly, the elevation may have something to do with Michigan play as well, as it's about 1,000 feet less than Denver, so it's not a mile high, but it is in the 4,000, I think 4,200. I looked up yesterday, foot elevation. It is also very dry out here, being in the mountains, heading into winter. So those could all be factors for Michigan, not used to playing in the elevation, not used to having such a dry climate. They must really go, they must have a lot of chapstick sales through the roof here. But just a couple things to keep an eye on. Obviously, Michigan had their legs well underneath them in the 18-0 win versus Montana State yesterday. But it'll be a whole different type of game here versus the University of Utah, the Utes. So we'll play a little bit more music and then come right back. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate you cheering for this team wherever you're at. Michigan is poised to get on the ice as they are over, just waiting for the Zamboni to leave the ice. Again, as we said before, if you needed to, if you want to watch a different broadcast, go to YouTube, search Utah Hockey, and they have a broadcast going for this game as well. Well, let's play the victors one more time, and then we'll come back, and I assume hopefully we'll have, I don't know if there's been a public address announcer so far, so we'll see if they do starting lineups and the national anthem and things like that. But let's play the victors one more time, and we'll come back with your opening puck drop. You're watching Michigan Women's Hockey, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting. As Michigan comes out onto the ice, the Wolverines in their blue road sweaters, those winged helmets, block M in maize on the front, numbers in maize on the back and on the right sleeve, block M on the left sleeve. Utah comes out in their home white jerseys, Utah, in black lettering on the front, numbers small on the front, big on the back, in red, and small on the sleeves, red stripe across the middle, and we have the black shorts. As Utah lining up along the goal line to the right, we may well have, I don't remember or recall a public address announcement. We definitely didn't have one yesterday, but I do not recall one for the game tomorrow, or the game today. It looks like we're going to get right into play. As, again, things running late here. Poneth goes down to the goal to our left. Utah comes over to get their helmets on as they were lined up expecting starting lineups and everything. But, again, as we are, but at this point we're literally about an hour and 20 minutes late starting. So it's okay. You wanted a little evening hockey wherever you're at watching. And Michigan just wanted to give you time to recover from the football game so you could properly focus here on a little hockey. Malashevsky in at center for Michigan. Goldman to her left, Swanson to her right. Levinson and McCarthy are the defensive pairings for Michigan. Christner on the left wing. On the right wing is Crookshanks. And it's Hansen at center. As that puck lifted all the way back to the blue line. Bringing ahead is McCarthy. McCarthy banks it off the near boards. Utah sends it right back out to center. That slips back into the Michigan zone. Levinson takes it right back behind her own goal, going from the near side to the far side. Rims it around the boards. As that's held in by Fish, the puck outside of the far circle. Trying to get it is Levinson. That fired. Centering attempt comes right outside the near circle. Trying to bring it back the other way. Hendry had it. Here comes Michigan as Malashevsky puts it into the near corner of the Utah zone. Malashevsky in along the end boards. Hansen sweeps it outside the far circle. Is moving over. Pimentel has it there. And puck right back outside the near circle as Rubin comes on trying to grab it. And that puck out into the neutral zone. Good poke check by Kolwich to keep a breakaway from happening, as that was Cruikshank. We thought she might be able to get away. Now a shot and a save out. And Lindahl with a backhanded shot that just went wide. As it is Griswold in between the pipes for Utah. That puck comes all the way back. Gathering it in is Goldberg. Goldberg ahead to Lindahl. Lindahl bringing it over on blue line down the near boards. Lindahl gains the zone outside the near circle. Lindahl in along the end boards, takes it right back behind the goal. That was poked away. Utah has it, sending it ahead. Here comes Katie German keeping it over to Gargiulo. Gargiulo trying to pull it away from Cruikshank. Poking in there, Eliasson as well, trying to lever it off of the end boards. Gargiulo has it. She goes outside the near circle. Gargiulo looks it back underneath, firing out in front. Now Gargiulo from the near circle. That's swept away. Good job by Harris to get it out of trouble. Now Bai has it in along the end boards, but a whistle as a Michigan player down in along the far boards. As that is Gargiulo slow to get up, but she makes her way up. That is going to be a power play tripping the call. So Michigan goes on the power play, that at 18:04. As into the box goes Harris for tripping. And puck controlled by Michigan. Proctor has it on the far circle. Proctor outside the far circle now. Drop pass back. Coming along the far side is Gargiulo. Gargiulo moves it back to the far point for Levinson. Levinson with a shot that was deflected, and that fired all the way down by Kistner. Kistner at it. Now ahead to Levinson. Levinson bringing it all the way down the ice, that into the Utah zone, and then fired all the way right back. As they send it down, that was Hansen who put it back into the Michigan zone. Michigan bringing up the near boards. Fired right back in by Nielsen, and now sent deep by Utah. Levinson grabs it right back behind her own goal, sending it down the far boards. 1 minute, 10 seconds left to go in the power play for Michigan. 17-11 left to go here in the first period. That pulled away by Utah as they feed it down. Katie German chases it all the way down. Back behind Poneth as she gathers it in. Coming down the near boards, trying to avoid pressure. As she comes over the center line, feeds it in along the far boards. Now that pulled right back behind by Evans. Evans underneath the near circle. Evans goes outside the near circle. Drops it back, then Evans gets it back. Feeds it to the blue line. Katie German over on the far circle to Rubin. Rubin back to Katie German. One-timer, couldn't get everything on it. There's a shot out in front. Saved by Griswold. The puck in along the end boards as Evans comes away with it, trying a wraparound attempt. That's saved by Griswold. And here comes the puck into the neutral zone. Coming back, Michigan grabs it. Lindahl gains the zone. Lindahl on the near circle, coming into the slot, loses the handle, backhands it, right through the crease. That comes outside the near circle. Evans gets it back over to Goldberg at the near point. Goldberg has that sticked away. Utah back to full strength. 16:02 left to go here in the first period. Scoreless so far as Stevenson chases the puck into the near corner. DeCreasy chasing it now. Simmer has it in along the end boards. Over to DeCreasy with a shot that just goes wide. Harris has it in along the far boards. Harris has that chip by Matthews, but gets it back out into the neutral zone. Kolwich has it there. Kolwich fires it deep into the Utah zone. Bai, right back behind her own goal, sends it along the far boards where Harris has it. Harris feeds it ahead. Now coming out with it is Emil Eichel. Emil Eichel puts it deep into the Michigan zone. Goldberg has it right back behind Poneth, puts it into the far corner for DeCreasy. That comes back out to the far point, Michigan. And along the far boards of the neutral zone, Weber trying to corral it. That comes back to Fish. Fish firing it ahead. Here comes Utah over their own blue line. Racing ahead with it. Goldberg has it in her own zone. as Amel Eichel sends it just in along the end boards. Goldberg picks it up there, but a whistle. Looked like a roughing, and into the box goes Matthews. Roughing the call. That at 15:01. So Michigan on their first penalty kill. The Utes with their first power play face-off. DePonet's right in the near face-off circle. Gargiulo in versus Hansen. As that comes back, Kistner moves it over. Hendry feeds it on the far circle. That fired all the way down the ice. Griswold will stop it on the far circle. Hendry has it there. Hendry right back behind her own goal. 1 minute, 45 seconds left to go in the Utah power play. Bringing ahead is Kistner. Kistner gains the Michigan zone outside the far circle. Levinson trying to poke it away. Kistner right back behind Proctor. Kistner moves it back to the blue line and fired over by Hendry. Kistner has it outside the near circle. Over top of the far circle for Hansen as Poneth gets her glove on top of it and freezes it. 1 minute, 22 seconds left to go in the Utah power play. 14:22 left to go in a scoreless first period here from the Salt Lake City Sports Complex. Face off to the left of Poneth. Malashevsky in to take the face off versus Hansen. That puck gathered in by Michigan as Swanson fires it all the way down the ice. That saucer's right back behind Griswold. She'll stop it there. Hansen acquires the puck right back behind her own goal. Hansen coming over to the far side. Hansen feeds it over to Kistner. Kistner over to Hansen. Hansen down the near boards. That poked away. Good job by Katie German as she fires that deep. That puck right back behind. Stopped by Griswold again. Moving over, trying to bring it ahead is Hendry. Hendry over to Hansen. Hansen through her own slot. Moves it through the neutral zone. Racing ahead. Harris with a shot. And that glove saved by Poneth. 45 seconds left to go in the Michigan penalty kill. 13:46 left to go here in this scoreless first period. Face off again to Poneth's left. As that tipped away, trying to get a shot right off the face-off. Good job by McCarthy to block that, held in at the far point. As that sent back deep, as that was Pimentel who had it. Now By trying to hold it in at the near point. That slips back into the neutral zone. Fired over to Pimentel. Now ahead down the near boards. Here comes Utah as Amel Eichel had it, but that's going to be offsides the call. 19 seconds left to go in the Utah power play. Face-off will come right outside of the Michigan zone in the near face-off circle. Matthews in to take that face-off. Utah brings out their top line again. Hansen in to take the face-off. That comes back. Hendry has it down over to Kistner and along the near boards of the Michigan zone. Kistner drop pass over to Hansen. That goes through the crease and along the far boards. Fish stops it at the far point. Fish with a stop there. Pad saved by Poneth. Here comes Michigan as they get it over their own blue line. Spinning with it. And fired deep by Matthews. Goes right back behind Griswold. Fish has it in the far corner of her own zone. That goes off of DeCreasy's skate. Now sending it ahead to Kistner was Hansen. Is pinned against the boards right in front of the Michigan zone. Matthews figures it into the neutral zone, trying to get to DeCreasy, but just out of her reach. That pulled back in, shot by Stevenson. That comes in along the near board, That was Hendry holding it in at the near point, then that's sent back deep by Keurig. Michigan bouncing puck, spinning in along the far boards of the neutral zone. Moves over to Simmer. Simmer gains his own. Simmer in the slot. Shot that just goes wide. And Stevenson sends it in along the near boards to Keurig. Keurig brings it down, getting it over to Torrey. Torrey gains the Michigan zone outside the near circle. Torrey drop pass back to Keurig. That goes back behind the Michigan goal outside the far circle. Eliason puts it into the far corner for Bryce. Bryce sweeps it around the boards. Racing over to get that is Torrey. Torrey outside the far circle. That was By. and pulled back over. Stevenson putting it back for By into the near corner. Katie German trying to poke that away. 11 minutes, 43 seconds left to go here in the scoreless first period. Still battling in along the near boards. Michigan lifts it into the neutral zone. Here comes Eliason, who gains his own. Top of the near circle. Eliason back over to Proctor with the shot. Saved by Griswold. Never saved by Griswold as that comes back out into the neutral zone. Michigan sets up shop there as Kolwich gets it ahead. Now coming in, Rubin with a shot, and Griswold holds on. 11:15 left to go here in the first period. Shots on goal up on the big board. 4 for Utah, 6 for Michigan. Face off to Griswold's right in the far face-off circle. Rubin versus Hansen. And pulled back over by McCain. Feeding ahead. Goldberg trying to hold it in at the near point. Lindahl trying to get it over to Christensen. Comes back out here, racing ahead. Kistner has it into the Michigan zone. Kolwich comes over to pull that away. Kolwich trying to avoid pressure. Kistner with a centering attempt. That deflects off of the far boards all the way back into the Utah zone. Hansen has it there. Hansen shows some good speed coming into the near corner, trying to avoid Christensen. Lindahl chasing it. That comes outside the near circle. Goldberg had it. Now that swept all the way back into the Michigan zone. Icing waved off. Malashevsky has it back behind her own goal, puts it in along the far boards. That back into the neutral zone, loose right at center ice. Pulled in by Amel Eichel. Amel Eichel into the near corner. Malashevsky trying to separate her from the puck. And puck into the far corner, lifted around, held in at the far point. Coming in, that's a shot by and a save by Poneth. 10 minutes, 9 seconds left to go here in the first. 0-0 is our score. Face-off in the far face-off circle. That's Torrey in there taking the face-off for Utah. Levinson gets it in along the end boards. Goes back behind Poneth into the near corner. Levinson trying to peel that away. Amel Eichel has it. And puck loose. Here comes Malashevsky from the far side to the near side to the far side. That deflects out into neutral zone. By gathers it in at her own blue line. Gets ahead to Amel Eichel. Amel Eichel gains his own top of the near circle. Bouncing puck shot saved by Poneth. Puck loose in the slot. Now moved over. Here comes Michigan ahead as Swanson goes over center ice. Swanson pokes it into the Utah zone. That deflected and back the other direction by the Utah defense. Nielsen came out trying to grab it. Now Nielsen in the high slot. Nielsen with the shot that goes wide. Nielsen with the wide angle shot off the side of the net and pulled back behind by McCarthy. And puck back to the far point. Shot there. Another save by Poneth. Keurig has it in along the M boards. Matthews trying to dig it off of the M boards. Still battling down there. The puck poked ahead. Here comes Michigan. That knocked away, held in by Torrey. And the puck on the top of the far circle. Keurig with the shot that got blocked out in front. Simmer with the move that deflects off of the far boards. Matthews in along the M boards. Matthews banks it off the far boards. That grab by Nielsen. Nielsen has that deflected. Pull back. Keurig goes back behind Poneth. That puck loose now. DeCreasy trying to get to it. Pokes it away. Hendry sends it back deep. Michigan trying to get it out of their own zone. They've been out there for a good long time on this shift. DeCreasy sends it ahead. That puck into the neutral zone. Simmer pokes it over. Torrey gets it back into her own zone. Michigan getting a line change in. That puck sent in along the far boards. Matthews trying to get to it. Eliason tips it, but that back over to Katie German. Katie German poked ahead by Hansen, but Katie German collects it, gains the zone. There's a shot. Excuse me, that was Bryce who had that shot. Proctor now in along the near boards, trying to get to that. Pull back over. Gargiulo had it. That tip by Proctor. Good save by Griswold. The puck in along the near boards. Hansen puts it in along the M boards. Eliason trying to get that away from Hendry. Hendry feeds it along the far boards. Crookshanks gets it all the way back into the neutral zone. Katie German has it. Trying to avoid big-time pressure by Crookshanks. And move back to Katie German underneath the far circle. Now Gargiulo brings it ahead down the far boards. Gets it out of her own zone. Kistner trying to steal it away, but here comes Eliason. Eliason gains his own. High slot shot, saved by Griswold. Eliason into the far corner. Centering attempt that pulled away. Fed down the ice. Here comes Crookshanks over center ice and puts it deep back behind Pontiff. Into the near corner. Kistner has it. Kistner outside the near circle. That's stolen away by Lindahl. Lindahl fires it all the way back and into the Michigan zone. Rubin trying to get it. That knocked away by Emil Eichel. Fired ahead. Michigan gains the zone, top of the far circle. That shot goes wide. And along the near circle, trying to pinch is Michigan. Beck trying to hold it in. That grab by Kolwich. Kolwich's shot. That went off of Island Eichel. Now ahead. Emil Eichel had it. Knocked away by Michigan. Kolwich chasing it. And pulled ahead by Beck, but a whistle. That puck is going to come back into the Utah zone. Scoreless so far. 6 minutes, 30 seconds left to go. Is that face-off right at center ice, bringing it around and along the near boards, racing ahead. It's Kistner. Kistner, who has the most goals of anyone, puts a centering attempt. Most goals of anyone, well, actually on the ice for both teams so far. Levinson trying to pull that away. Kistner firing it out just pulling it out on the far circle. Kistner banks it in along the near boards. Holding is back. Beck gets it back to Kistner outside the near circle. Now Hansen in along the end boards. Back to Kistner. Kistner back to Beck at the near point. Beck with a shot that goes wide. That's swept in along the far boards. Goldman chasing it, trying to get it around McCain. And chased all the way back. Beck has it at her own blue line. Feeds it ahead to Crookshanks, who dumps it deep into the Michigan zone. Torrey just off the bench, races back in. Katie German trying to avoid pressure by Torrey. Comes down the far boards, feeds it ahead. Icing waved off as now Bai comes into the near corner to try and grab it. Back in along the near boards of the neutral zone. Matthews drops it back to Katie German at her own blue line. Trying to avoid pressure by Torrey. That over to DeCreasy. DeCreasy has it knocked away. Here coming in. Matthews fires it. That went through the slot and along the near boards. Loose gathered in. Here comes the Utes as Bai gets it back into the neutral zone. Brought back in by Simmer outside the near circle. 5 minutes, 5 seconds left to go here in the first. As Simmer trying to peel the puck off of the end boards. Weber there has it. Weber sends it in along the near boards, trying to get it over to Torrey. That puck bounces. Now Simmer with the wide angle shot. Good save by Griswold. The puck sent all the way down the ice. It may have been tipped. Nope, icing. And that will bring it back into the Utah zone. 4 minutes, 46 seconds left to go here in the first. 0-0 is our score between these two squads. Face-off is going to be in the far face-off circle. That to Griswold's right. Gargiulo in to take the face-off. Nielsen on the other side. That brought back to the far point. As Kolwich sends it into the far corner. Christensen pinned against the boards. That sent in along the near boards. Goldberg holds it in. Bouncing puck outside the near circle. On the near circle, making a move over is Proctor. Proctor has that poked away as it comes in along the far boards of the neutral zone. Gargiulo has it, brings it back into the zone. Gargiulo on the far circle shot. Griswold with the save. Proctor trying to get to it at outside the far circle. Now Kolwich has it there. Kolwich in against the end boards. That puck loose. Swept ahead. Emil Eichel has it. A whistle. .407 left to go. Here in the first, scoreless so far. Bai goes into the box, hooking the call. That at .407, Michigan has their second power play of the game. Face-off in the near face-off circle. Trying to get to that, still loose in the near circle. Coming away with it is Evans. Evans outside the near circle spinning. That deflected in the near corner. Back to Katie German at the near point. Shot just goes wide. Rubin has it outside the far circle. Rubin loses the handle. That goes back in along the far boards of the neutral zone. Slides it over to Katie German. Katie German moves it ahead. In along the far boards, that to Swanson. The puck loose. Lindahl has it. Lindahl back over to Rubin. Rubin goes over on blue line, down the near boards, ahead to Evans. Evans, top of the near circle. Evans with a wrister, save by Griswold. Swanson right on the doorstep. Griswold would not oblige, not allowing a rebound. 3:30 left to go here in the first period. 1 minute, 23 seconds left to go in the Michigan power play. Face-off in the near face-off circle. Matthews in to take the face-off versus Cruikshanks. That cleared all the way down the ice. Poneth stops it in along the end boards. And sent ahead to Creasy coming down the near boards with it. DeCreasy has it poked away. Now Levinson moves it back behind Poneth. Bringing it ahead. Here comes Michigan. As that banked off of the near boards ahead to DeCreasy. DeCreasy coming ahead. That knocked away. Levinson with it again. Levinson ahead down the far boards. Ahead to Proctor. Proctor trying to avoid pressure by Harris. That fed deep in along the end boards. Right back behind Griswold. Then fired all the way down the ice. Poneth stops it there. 43 seconds left to go in the Michigan power play. As that brought ahead, Matthews sends it back to Levinson on the far circle of the zone. Levinson trying to avoid pressure by Hansen. Levinson brings it ahead, slips that over to Proctor. Proctor comes over center ice. Proctor gains his own, top of the far circle. Proctor goes in along the end boards from the far side to the near side. Proctor underneath the near circle she goes. Proctor moves it back to Katie German at the near point. That shot blocked by Harris into the far corner. Gargiulo trying to move in along the end boards. Gargiulo is poked off of the puck. Hansen now has it in the far corner. Holding it in. Kolwich at the far point. 2 seconds, 1 second left. Utah back to full strength. 2 minutes and 5 seconds left to go in a scoreless first period. All the way back into the Michigan zone that will be icing and head back over into the Utah end. That was shot from just the wrong side of the center ice line. Two minutes even left to go here in the first period. Scoreless game so far. Rubin in to take the face-off on the near face-off circle. Hansen on the other side. As into the near corner, Lindahl with it. Lindahl coming in along the end boards, slips that back over to Evans. Evans loses an edge back to Lindahl in the near corner. Lindahl outside the near circle, switches directions back over to Evans. Evans feeds it. And back over, loses an edge, picked up by Rubin. Rubin right back behind Griswold. Wraparound attempt. And a save by Griswold. As Griswold did a good job and gets a big hug from Christner for that great save, as that was a real sneaky wraparound attempt by Michigan. And Griswold able to slide over and get that pad against that far post. Malashevsky in to take the face-off versus Island Eichel. And top of the far circle, back to the far point, shot by Michigan into the far corner. Malashevsky with it there. Malashevsky back behind Griswold, now underneath the near circle. Malashevsky has that poked away, held in at the near point. McCarthy trying to sweep it back as that out into the neutral zone right in front of the Utes bench. Digging, trying to pull it back. Malashevsky gets it back over to Katie German. Katie German moves it ahead. That was Levinson. Into the far corner. Sent ahead by Fish. Here comes Emil Eichel. Emil Eichel feeds it. That tipped by Nielsen. Is Island Eichel with a shot from the far circle. That was blocked. Fish holds it in at the far point. Fish with the shot. That knocked away by Bryce. Bryce into the far corner. Bryce brings it ahead. Again, Fish holds it in. As that puck in along the far boards into the far corner. And Bryce feeds it in along the near boards. As Swanson trying to avoid pressure by a pair of Utes. And now here comes Lindahl. Lindahl gains his own. Lindahl trying to make a move into a slot shot. And save by Griswold. 27 seconds left to go here in the first. As it looks like they are sometimes update the shots on goal. It doesn't appear to be a live setting. Now they just updated to 12 shots on goal by Michigan, 7 by the Utes. I just had to say something apparently. Matthews wins it back, top of the far circle. Shot that goes into the near corner. Pulled back over by Kistner. Kistner trying to dig it off of the near boards outside the near circle. Also trying to get in there. Kistner brings it back into the neutral zone. Bryce racing. Now Katie German trying to get back before Crookshanks. Katie German does a good job. Knock it away from Crookshanks. Crookshanks and along the end boards fires it right back in front, and that will do it for the first period. No score so far. There was a Utah penalty at 18:04, tripping called to Harris. Michigan took a penalty at 15:01. That was Matthews for roughing. And then it was a hooking penalty, that Dubai at 4:07. No scores on any of those, able to kill them all off. Red Wings have just taken the 2-1 lead on the Columbus Blue Jackets, so hoping the Red Wings can win there. We'll step away, play a little bit of the victors, then we will do our ACHA intermission scoreboard report. Here at the first intermission, scoreless so far, 12 shots on goal by the Wolverines, 7 by Utah. Now it's time for our ACHA intermission scoreboard report. As the first game was suspended with 20 minutes remaining in the first, so basically they suspended it right at the beginning between Grand Canyon and Colorado State University. Hopefully everything okay there. It was a final in a single overtime. Midland University beat University of Minnesota. That was at Ritter Arena in Minneapolis. Over at Oceanside Arena, it was Arizona State versus Colorado State. Again, that was suspended. That was apparently a number of games trying to be played in Arizona. That one was suspended, nothing played. It was a final between Liberty University and Maryville. Liberty with the 5-1 win. It was University of Massachusetts Amherst 5 and University of Utah 1 yesterday. Again, Aquinas versus Concordia was suspended. This might be, depending on where things are being played, that one might be due to snow. At Harrington Ice Arena, it was a final, Indiana Tech 3 and Adrian College nothing. University of Denver shut out Wyoming 12-0. It was McKendree with a 3-2 win over Lindenwood University. And Michigan beat Montana State 18-0. Let's see what's happened so far today, see if any scores have been reported. Again, Grand Canyon versus Colorado State suspended. Listed there. No score reported in the Grand Valley State versus Lake Superior State University. Arizona State versus Colorado State was suspended. And Concordia versus Aquinas was suspended. Liberty, no score between Liberty and Maryville. It was a final, University of Denver 12 and Wyoming 1. No score reported between Indiana Tech and Adrian College. Minot State shut out Jamestown by a score of 4-0. And it was University of Amherst, Massachusetts playing right now, Montana State. It looks like Massachusetts, UMass, has the 10-0 lead with 5 seconds left to go in the second period. So they'll have a 10-0 lead going into the third period. It's literally that rink just behind us. I can actually turn my head and take a look at the scoreboard there. So that is very, very useful. At the second intermission, we will have our University of Michigan scoreboard report. As again, if you do want a different version, different broadcast, University of Utah is broadcasting on YouTube. Just search Utah Hockey over on YouTube. You can see their broadcast. We're going to step away, play a little bit of, if I can move things over here. We'll play a little bit of the Michigan Marching Band, and then we will be right back with your second period action. 9 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting down here at the first intermission. Scoreless so far. You're watching Michigan Women's Hockey, brought to you by Arbor Broadcasting. Here at the first intermission, scoreless so far as we're counting down about a minute 25 seconds left to go before Michigan set up ready to get in as they're setting by the door to the left. Utah saying the door to the right. As we're waiting, let's get a few scores from NCAA Women's D1 from yesterday. Lindenwood beat RIT by a score of 1-0. Quinnipiac shut out Clarkston 4-0. It was Princeton with a 1-0 shutout of St. Lawrence. Providence, number 13 Providence, beat the Maine Black Bears 3-0. It was Vermont shutting out Merrimack 3-0. Boston University beat Connecticut by a score of 2-1. Boston College beat New Hampshire by a score of 3-2. It was Northeastern beating Holy Cross 2-1. LIU beat Stonehill 5-1. It was St. Anselm's over St. Michael's 4-2. Sacred Heart beat Franklin Pierce 3-1. It was Yale beating Penn State 3-0. Dartmouth shut out Post 6-0. Minnesota Duluth beat Harvard 4-0, and Ohio State shut out Bemidji State 5-0. We'll take a look at see if any scores have been reported from NCAA Division I women's hockey. We'll check scores for today at our second intermission, along with the Michigan scoreboard report. Michigan going from right to left here in this second period. Hansen in to take the face off versus Malashevsky for Michigan. As that puck loose, bringing it ahead. Here comes Kistner. Kistner into the zone outside the far circle. Kistner trying to fire it ahead. That puck poked away. Honeth with a save. 19:46 left to go here in the second. Still scoreless between these two teams. Face-off will be in the far face-off circle. As that one back to the far point, holding it in there. As that was sent back by Hendry and covered up by Ponef. 19:44 left to go here in the second. Michigan has a line change as Evans, Lindahl, and Rubin come in. Rubin in to take the face-off versus Hansen. That one into the far corner, sent back to the far point, held in there. Now Rubin lifts it all the way back into the neutral zone. Hansen grabs it right at center ice and battling in along the far boards, trying to poke that away. Lindahl gets it into the Utah zone and sent back. Lindahl has it knocked away. Here comes Kistner the other direction. Kistner over center ice. Kistner gains the zone. Puck one settled down for covered up by Poneth. 19:18 left to go. Here in the second, face-off will be to Poneth's left in the near face-off circle. That puck loose, pulled back away by Michigan as Kolwich gets it into the neutral zone. That tip back by Beck, skating ahead with it. Here comes Lindahl. Lindahl into the near corner. Lindahl has it outside the near circle. Now top of the near circle with a shot. Griswold steers that into the far corner. As Mel Eichel outside the far circle of her own zone. That comes in along the end boards. And pull back. Gargiulo feeds it back to Goldberg at the far point. Back to Gargiulo on the far circle. Gargiulo comes high slot over to Kolwich, top of the near circle. Kolwich trying to feed it underneath as Proctor was moved off of that spot. Now Goldberg puts it in along the end boards. Proctor trying to get to it. That swept back into the far corner. As Eliasson trying to peel it off of the boards. That rolls on edge all the way into the near corner. Lift it back into the neutral zone. It's a foot race as Kistner coming back down. That will be icing before Kistner can get to it. That will come back into the Utah zone. 18-15 left to go here in the second. No score so far. Face-off comes to Griswold's right in the near face-off circle. Matthews in to take the face-off versus Eileen Eichel. That comes outside the near circle, trying to get it back to Bryce. Bryce with a shot. That knocked down by Beck. Beck puts it into the near corner. That fed all the way around the boards. DeCrazy has it outside the far circle. DeCrazy back behind the goal. Shot. That saved by Griswold. Comes skittering over in along the near boards. As Bryce trying to get to it now. Simmer trying to dig it off the boards. That puck backhanded right back out into the neutral zone. Katie German brings it ahead, gaining the zone. Katie German. High slot with a shot that just goes wide. Matthews trying to hold that puck in. That grab by Kistner. Kistner gets ahead to Crookshank. Crookshank, high slot, top of the near circle. That shot just went wide. Now Hansen had it. That pulled ahead. Here comes DeCrazy over on blue line. Down the far boards of the neutral zone. DeCrazy, top of the far circle. Puck wouldn't settle down. That swept into the far corner by Hansen. She takes it back behind Griswold. Now that puck, bringing it down the far boards is by. Feeds it over to Kistner. That poked ahead by Goldman. And bringing it in is Swanson. Swanson outside the near circle. Swanson bouncing puck. Malashevsky feeds it along the boards. That outside the far circle. Kistner sends it right back behind Griswold. Weber sends it ahead to Crookshank. Held in by Levinson. Shot that deflected off of, I believe it was Bai's leg. Griswold did a great job of seeing that and covering it up. 16:51 left to go here in the second. 0-0 is our score. As Pimentel back out there. Looks like it's going to be Keurig taking the face-off versus Malashevsky. And puck right loose on the near circle. Bodies fall down as Swanson has it in along the end boards, trying to feed it out in front to Malashevsky. That knocked down, coming in along the far boards. Pimentel had it. Now Goldberg collects it in along the neutral zone, trying to fire it right back to the Utes blue line. And moved ahead. Now racing down with it. Here comes Nielsen. Nielsen gets it back behind the Michigan goal, covered up by Poneth. 16:23 left to go here in the second. Both teams get a line change. Face-off will be to Poneth's left in the near face-off circle. As Island Eichel in to take the face-off for the Utes versus Rubin. That puck right through the slot into the far corner. Mel Eichel has it in along the end boards. Rubin trying to knock it away. Goldberg into the far corner. Island Eichel gets it back to the far point. That loose as trying to pull it away. Goldberg sweeps it into the neutral zone. That was tipped by Utah. Well, maybe not. Thought it was tipped by a Utah player, but that will come back in. Into the Michigan zone. The Red Wings have extended their lead 4-1 over the Blue Jackets. Face-off in the far face-off circle. Hansen, that into the far corner. Kistner has it back behind the goal, trying to fire it out in front. That grab in the slot, bringing it ahead. Here comes Michigan. Evans down the near boards. Evans gains the zone outside the near circle. Evans in along the end boards, goes from the near side to the far side. Top of the far circle, Evans. High slot now, feeds it onto the near circle for Gargiulo. That wouldn't settle down for her. She moves it, trying to get it back to Kolwich. That pulled away. Bringing it ahead, Hansen feeds it over to Kistner. Kistner into the neutral zone. Christensen trying to knock it down. Goldberg trying to sweep it the other way. Now Christensen with it. Coming in, Crookshanks puts that just wide of the goal into the near corner. Kolwich moves it down the near boards. Now racing ahead, Eliasson. Controlled and fed ahead by McCain. Harris gets it over to Emil Eichel. Emil Eichel with a shot and a save by Poneth. 15:05 left to go here in the second. Still scoreless. Face-off in the far face-off circle. Matthews in to take the face-off. As that loose outside the far circle. Drop back to the far point. Shot by McCain. That comes back outside the near circle. Beck has it there. Back into the near corner. Beck trying to fire it out in front. That right through the crease. Comes back out to McCain in along the far boards. McCain gets it over to Harris. Harris feeds it ahead. Beck brings it into the zone. Knocked away by Matthews. Matthews chases it into the near corner. Emil Eichel has it there. And still digging, still trying to pull it away. Bryce has it. Bryce puts it down the near boards. Held in by Beck. Beck puts it high off of the glass and along the end boards. Here comes Katie German down the far boards of her own zone. Katie German over on blue line, over center ice. Katie German gains the zone, top of the far circle. Katie German ridden off the puck, heading along the far boards. Emil Eichel comes down over her own blue line down the far boards of the neutral zone. Feeds it ahead, now coming in. There's a shot and a save by Poneth. As Island Eichel with his shot from the far circle. Poneth able to cover it up. 14:07 left to go here in the second. Face-off in the far face-off circle. Keurig versus Malashevsky. And shot goes wide into the near corner. Chasing it, here comes Goldman. Goldman sends it down the ice. That is icing, and they'll head right back into the Michigan zone. 13:58 left to go here in the second. And second time these two teams have tangled. Michigan able to win the first matchup at Yost Ice Arena. Utah trying to get a little revenge in this game at home. Part of the Beehive Showcase. That shot got blocked, bouncing puck into the slot shot. Poneth with a save. Oh, that was in the slot, point blank shot. Poneth able to knock it down. Controlled, trying to fire it out in front. Malashevsky puts it back behind. Christner gets it back as that shot just goes wide. Pimento put it into the near corner. Now Goldman trying to get it out of the zone. Stevenson holds it in. Crookshank fires it. That goes just wide to the far side. McCarthy gathering it into the far corner. Hansen has it, trying to fire it out in front. Crookshanks comes in, loose in the slot. Fed ahead. Here comes Goldman. Knocked away from Goldman. Loose puck. Pimentel sends it. That knocked away. Here comes Malashevsky. Malashevsky in the slot with a shot that goes wide into the near corner. Malashevsky has it in along the end boards, trying to feed it out. Crookshanks has it in along the near boards. And brought Lindahl, shot, and she puts it in! Lindahl with the score as she put it just under the crossbar. Griswold had good position, but it was a shot from the high slot. And Lindahl has the opening goal of this contest. That at 12:57. Puck back into the Utah zone. Spinning with it is Hendry. Hendry puts it in along the far boards. And brought ahead by Emil Eichel. Emil Eichel gets it into the far corner. Matthews trying to pull that away. So they get pinned against the boards. And puck. Emil Eichel still trying to dig it away. Matthews has it outside the far circle of her own zone. Ahead to Lindahl. Lindahl, who just scored the opening goal of the contest. And slips back in along the end boards. Michigan gets a changing out personnel. Rubin has it at the far point, holding it in. Rubin gets it onto the far circle. Now in along the end boards. Eliason trying to peel it off the end boards. She's pinned by Hendry. Battling a pair of Utes. As now that grab shot by Gargiulo from the far circle. Covered up by Griswold as they're able to. Eliason able to pull it off that far end board and put it right on the far circle. Great shot there by Gargiulo. Even better save by Griswold. Michigan up 1-0 here. 12:07 left to go in the second. Gargiulo in to take the face off. As that pulled ahead by Kistner. Kistner coming in with it. Kistner, top of the near circle. Kistner puts it into the slot and knocked away as she tried to get it right over to Pimentel. And loose outside the near circle now. Michigan puts it into the neutral zone. Kistner right back into the Michigan zone, firing it. Here comes Katie German. She ricochets it off of the far boards. McCain has it at her own blue line. Keurig gets it over to Harris and along the near boards of the neutral zone. That brought into the Michigan zone but sent right back out. Harris trying to backhand it into the zone, but Gargiulo fires it down and deflected into the near corner. And gathered in by Beck. Beck feeds it all the way around the far boards. Island Eichel gets it into the neutral zone in along the far boards, drops it back to McCain, top of the far circle in her own zone. And it goes all the way back and will be icing. That'll head back into the Utah zone. Michigan up 1-0 here in the second. 11:14 left to go in this second period. Well, it's a game that got started about 1 hour, 20 minutes after it was supposed to, just building a little extra anticipation between these two excellent hockey teams as Matthews wins it. In along the end boards, DeCreasy has it on the far circle. DeCreasy outside the first far circle has that poked away. Coming back, DeCreasy back behind, trying to fire it out in front for Simmer. And puck outside the far circle. Matthews with it. Matthews in along the end boards to Simmer. Simmer ends up on the ice, shot by Matthews, saved by Griswold. As there is both a Utah player down and a Michigan player down. As Simmer went down hard in along the end board, she gets up. I believe that was Island Eichel who went down hard for Utah. She got up as well. She was right in the slot. There is going to be a penalty as Beck goes into the box. I believe that's going to be a roughing call. As Michigan on the power play, top of the near circle. Trying to move it over, that knocked down. Coming in with it is Cruikshank. Cruikshank with a shot that swims all the way out, back into the neutral zone. Controlled by Michigan at their own blue line. Ahead to Evans. Evans brings it over the blue line. Evans outside the near circle. Evans holds up there, moves it back to the near point, over to Rubin. Rubin feeds it top of the far circle. That ripped shot and a save. As Katie German had the shot from the top of the far circle, Michigan. Both teams make line changes. 1 minute, 29 seconds left to go in the Michigan power play. 10:20 left to go here in the second. Gargiulo in to take the face-off. Hansen on the other side. This top line for Utah really gets a lot of minutes. Racing ahead as that'll slip in along the end boards, moving it outside the far circle over to Levinson. Here comes Michigan. Michigan over our own blue line. Michigan over center ice. Levinson gains the zone. Levinson outside the near circle. Levinson in along the end boards, rims it all the way around. DeCreasy has it outside the far circle. DeCreasy gets it back in along the end boards. Now Matthews trying to get it and pulled away by Hendry. Hendry trying to get along the far boards, but Proctor has it. Proctor underneath the far circle. Spins with it outside the far circle. Proctor back to the far point to DeCreasy. DeCreasy with the shot. That got blocked by Hansen through the slot. Gargiulo takes it underneath the near circle. Gargiulo feeds it back in along the end boards over to Matthews. Matthews back to Gargiulo outside the near circle. Gargiulo going from the near side to the far side, back behind the Utah goal. Slipped back out to the far point to Evans. Evans back to Gargiulo outside the far circle. Lindahl with the shot. That one just went wide. Lindahl, the lone goal scorer for the Maize-N Blues so far. And puck, Levinson has the puck pulled away, but Matthews takes it back behind the goal. Matthews outside the far circle with it. Matthews goes to the far point. Matthews sends it outside the far circle. Now over top of the near circle, trying to get it Levinson. That wouldn't settle down. Levinson feeds it all the way around the boards. Rubin chases it, holds it outside the far circle. Utah back to full strength. That puck outside the far circle. Rubin trying to grab it. Rubin feeds it back in along the end boards. And fired out in front, trying to get it to Swanson. And tipped away. Lindahl has it going from the near side to the far side now. Backhands it right through the crease. That grabbed on the far circle by Proctor. Proctor gets it right back behind the goal out in front. Katie German with a shot from the high slot. Sliding save by Griswold. That puck outside the near circle. Lindahl with it there. Lindahl as it poked away in along the near boards. And over to Katie German. High slot. Katie German gets it, trying to get it over to Rubin, but Rubin had moved. That comes right back in along the end boards. Feeding it out in front is Fish. Now Kistner all the way down the far boards, chasing and grabbing it is Michigan. As bringing it the other direction is Bryce. Bryce gets it over to Swanson, top of the far circle. Swanson with the shot. And knocked away all the way back into the neutral zone. Katie German grabs it at her own blue line, feeds it ahead. Goldman has it knocked away. Katie German gathers it in over the blue line. Katie German backhands it in along the end boards of the Utah zone. Pimentel has it there. Pimentel poked away as Lindahl battling. Now a pair of Utah players. And sent ahead in along the near boards. Emil Eichel had it. Now Simmer pulls it away. Malashevsky in to try and dig it off of the near boards as well. Held in by Kolwich. Top of the near circle. Kolwich with a shot and a save by Griswold. 7:07 left to go here in the second. Michigan 1, Utah nothing. Not sure how updated the shots are, but they have 17 shots on goal by Michigan. 10 shots on goal by the Utah team. Matthews wins it back to Kolwich. Kolwich fires it. That intercepted. Pulling it away is Stevenson and along the near boards. And is trying to bring the puck ahead. Was Yarrow. That knocked back deep. Swept by in along the far boards. Battle for it along the far boards. Bailey had it. And that right back behind the goal. And in along the neutral zone. Racing back into the Michigan zone. Goldberg trying to knock it away. That into the far corner. Controlled by Torrey. Torrey gets it outside the near circle. Nielsen puts it into the near corner. Kolwich trying to get out of the zone. Held in by Stevenson at the near point. Loose on the near circle. Puck wouldn't settle down for Harris. Matthews brings it right back behind Poneth. Kolwich gets it back out to the far point. Now Goldberg trying to get it that into the near corner. Harris with it there. Harris sends it right back behind the goal. And puck outside the far circle, back to the far point. Shot there. Bye. Now deflected. Stevenson trying to hold it in. The puck deflects off the near boards. Michigan fires it right in front of the Utah bench. That brought back. DeCreasy chases it in along the far boards. Poked away by. DeCreasy loses her stick. She has to go back out onto the bench. McCarthy comes out as well as Eliason. Proctor grabs it, fires it into the slot. Trying to get that. Held in at the far point by McCarthy. Shot right out in front. Proctor chipping away at it. Great save by Griswold. Now again out in front. Griswold covers it up. Oh, Proctor and By with an epic battle right in front of the crease. Is Gargiulo able to go and get DeCreasy her stick? Into the box goes By for cross-checking. That at 5:25. Michigan back on the power play. 2 power plays for Michigan in the first. This is their second power play in the second. Michigan has only been shorthanded once. Swanson in to take the face-off. On the other side, Nielsen. The puck still loose on the near circle. Comes back to Katie German at the far point. Moves it. Top of the far circle. Now Katie German at the high slot. Firing it tipped out in front. Griswold trying to get to it and covers it up. Good play design by Michigan to fire it in. And Utah getting the last change there. They bring in that top line, Kistner, Hansen, and Cruikshank. Well, Cruikshank not out there. Bouncing puck as that was shot, bounced up in the air. Griswold able to cover it up. Griswold, I think she is shaken up a little bit. And she looks okay. Hansen gives her a nice pat on the chest, says thank you very much for saving a great goal opportunity there. Swanson had one back over to Katie German. Katie German over to Evans. Evans onto the far circle and fired all the way down the ice. Cleared. 1 minute 30 seconds left to go in the Michigan power play. Katie German brings it down the far boards, trying to avoid pressure by Hansen. Katie German gains the zone. Top of the far circle. Stops there. Katie German. Drop pass over to Evans outside the far circle. Evans holds up there. Goes back. Katie German, high slot, shot, deflected out in front. Rubin trying to get to the puck. That knocked away. Great defensive play out there by Pimentel. Swanson battling McCain in along the end boards. Now Lindahl comes in to try and get it. Lindahl feeds it over to Rubin. That peels away. Here comes Cruikshanks. Cruikshanks gains his own, fires it deep and along the end boards. 52 seconds left to go in the Michigan power play advantage. Michigan has the 1-0 lead. 4:11 left to go here in the third. Bringing it ahead is Rubin. Rubin firing it, trying to fire it deep. That lifted and cleared all the way back. Ponith holds it on the near circle. Gathered in by Levinson. Levinson rings it around the boards. Here comes DeCreasy. DeCreasy fires it all the way down. That will be icing. Trying to get it over to Proctor, and they just didn't connect. That'll bring it back into the Michigan zone with 24 seconds left to go here in this. 24 seconds left to go in the Michigan power play. 3:49 left to go in the second. It's now 13-1, by the way. UMass leading Montana State in the rink just behind us. And Kistner has it, top of the far circle. Kistner, ever dangerous. She has the lead in goals and points for this Utah team. Michigan collects it. Over the own blue line, ahead to DeCreasy. DeCreasy gains his own. DeCreasy, top of the near circle, drop pass over to Gargiulo. Gargiulo into the near corner. Gargiulo comes back behind the goal from the near side to the far side. Gargiulo outside the far circle in the Utah zone. Sends it back for Proctor in along the end boards. Utah back to full strength, firing it into the slot. Matthews trying to get to it. And loose, pulled away. Amel Eichel sends it back into the neutral zone. Levinson has it there. In along the near boards. Levinson trying to get it into the zone. And back in along the end boards, right back behind Griswold. McCain. And sent and tipped right back out the center ice. Katie German fires it back deep. Stevenson into the far corner of her own zone. That up, and a couple Michigan fans almost ended up with a puck over there. Well, you do have to be careful. I was walking around in the game before this, and nets on the end but not on the sides, very much like Yost. And there was a puck that came whizzing by and missed me by about a foot. Always keep your head on a swivel. Malashevsky in to take the face off, top of the far circle, and pulled away by Harris. Harris coming down the far boards, over on blue line. Harris fires it deep into the Michigan zone, that into the near corner. Gathered up there, bringing it ahead. Kolwich sends it back right to the blue line. Beck feeds it down the far boards. Harris trying to get to it, and gathered and again sent down. Michigan sends a bouncing puck in along the end boards. Beck sweeps it into the far corner, and gathered, trying to fire it out in front. Michigan trying to pull it off the boards is Simmer. Simmer battling in along the end boards and into the far corner. Now Goldman puts it back to the far point and over to Goldberg. Pulled away. Island Eichel has it right back behind her own goal. Goldman trying to fire it out in front. That knocked down. Controlled by Utah as they send it in along the near boards of the neutral zone. Kolwich trying to knock it right back into the Utah zone. They have it right at the blue line. Now Simmer outside the near circle in the Utah zone. Trying to get Evans. Evans ridden off the puck. Back to Katie German, who has to wait for Michigan to touch up to avoid a delayed offsides. Beck feeds it along the far board. Stopped there by Rubin. Rubin, top of the far circle. Gets it back over. Katie German holds it in at the far point. Backhands it into the far corner. Rubin trying to get to the puck in the slot. Couldn't get it. Now low slot. Shot by Lindahl. And it goes in! Lindahl with her second goal of the game. Puts Michigan up 2-1 at 1 minute and 17 seconds left to go in the second. Gargiulo comes out to take the face-off. Christensen to her left. Proctor to her right. Hansen out to take the face-off for Utah. Kistner gets into the zone, into the slot, poked away by Bryce. Kistner loses an edge as it goes into the far corner. Katie German rims it all the way around the boards. Pimentel trying to get to it. That lifted all the way back down the ice. Controlled by Hansen. Hansen ahead to Crookshank. Crookshank, puck wouldn't settle down. Michigan holds it in as Proctor has it in the high slot in the Utah zone. Shot. Griswold with the save. 53 seconds left to go here in the second. Michigan. A pair of goals by Lindahl gives them the 2-0 lead. Matthews in to take the face-off. Island Eichel on the other side. And puck loose, sent right back behind and in along the near boards. Levinson holds it in at the near point. Outside the near circle it goes. Levinson trying to tip it, still loose. Held in by Simmer, high slot. Simmer goes onto the far circle, and Simmer puts it in! With 38.9 seconds left to go, Simmer with a shot just on the edge of the far circle. And Michigan now has a 3-0 lead. Really good sniper shot, well placed by Simmer. Matthews in there versus Hansen in the faceoff. DeCreasy pulls it away. DeCreasy, high slot with a shot glove save by Griswold. 33.8 seconds left to go here in the second. Shots on goal up on the big board, 27 by Michigan, 11 by Utah. Michigan has really turned things on here in the second. As the next team looks like ACHA men's action happening right after this as they're all warming up over on the far side. That puck comes back. Levinson trying to knock it away. Crookshanks trying to get to it. Crookshanks with a shot. And it knocked away. No goal. No goal. Trying to cover it up as what happened. Proctor had it, and it just got through Feifel, but didn't have enough momentum to get over the goal line, racing in. That knocked away as Poneth made a nice save, and it just slipped past, and that wasn't Proctor who got her stick over there. Was it Gargiulo, I believe? Gargiulo came over and got her stick, keeping it from going over the goal line. Poneth made a beautiful save on the Crookshank goal, but that momentum tried to carry it in. Crookshank taking the face off. Hansen with a shot as Rubin has lost her stick into the near corner. That into the slot. Swept all the way around the far boards. Utah trying to put heavy pressure on Michigan. Kolwich brings it ahead now. 5 seconds left to go. Kolwich looks up at the clock. Holds it in along the near boards, and that will do it. Well, Michigan with 3 goals in the second, but Crookshanks centimeters away from the goal at the end of the second. But Michigan with the lead, 3-0. Michigan with the goal at 12:57 as Lindahl put that in. Then it was a Utah penalty at 10:55 roughing as Beck went into the box. Then it was a Utah penalty at 5:25 cross-checking to buy. Lindahl has the brace as she scored a Michigan goal at 1:17. And then Michigan with 38.9 seconds left to go. Simmer with a sniper shot from the inner edge of the far circle makes it 3-0 Michigan. Well, we will come back with a Michigan scoreboard report and see if we can have any action in NCAA Women's Division I. But first, let's play a little bit of the victors, and we will be right back here at the second intermission. Michigan 3 and Utah 0. 0-0. Michigan with an explosive third period. 2 goals by Lindahl and a goal by Simmer has the lead. Crookshanks centimeters from scoring, but it would not be thanks to some quick stick work by, I believe, Gargiulo. Michigan, now it's time for the Michigan scoreboard report. Taking a look at scores yesterday, men's swimming and diving and women's swimming and diving are both at the Tennessee Invitational, a non-scoring event. Michigan's ice hockey loses 6-3 to Minnesota, so they were swept by Minnesota at Yost Ice Arena on a rare Thursday-Friday action at Yost. Michigan, the men's hockey team, has a number of players missing due to a virus. Again, we are sending all of prayers and a best of luck over to Steve Holtz, who was put on a ventilator earlier this week. And we hope his family's doing well, and we hope he recovers. So Michigan got 2 players back on Saturday and lost 2 other players. Ciccolini due to a heavy hit the night before. And the Michigan men's team hoping to just get a little healthier, get some things to happen. So despite the fact that they got swept by number 2 Minnesota at home, it was a valiant, gutsy effort as they really, really had a lot of pieces missing. And speaking of pieces missing, we'll talk about the Michigan football game in a moment. But Michigan volleyball lost to number 19 Purdue 1-3. Those sets were 23-25, 25-23, 21-25, and 22-25. Men's swimming and diving was versus North Carolina over at the Knoxville Invitational. No score reported. Women's swimming and diving had a meet against Carlson Newman, as well as women's swimming and diving with a meet versus Virginia, and men working against number 10 Tennessee. All sorts of stuff inside of there as the Tennessee Invitational had Michigan men and women's playing Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Carlson Newman. Women's cross country was at the NCAA Championships and took 22 out of 31. Men's cross country at the NCAA Championships, they took 29 out of 31. Michigan football did not have Blake Corum in the second half. He went out with a knee injury. We are hoping he'll be all right for that clash happening next week. Edwards was also out, as well as Schoonmaker and Mike Moore, as it was a depleted Michigan team who had to come back as Illinois took the lead 17-10. Michigan with 3 Moody field goals to win it in the fourth. And if you have any question of whether the Luke Groza Award should stay in Ann Arbor with Jake Moody, I think that is well answered. Michigan able to win versus a gritty, gutsy Illinois team who has been ranked, isn't currently, but has been ranked. Michigan pulls off the win with the depleted squad, 19-17. For volleyball, that's happening at 8 p.m., so that started about an hour ago. Volleyball facing Maryland live at College Park. Let's also take a look and see if we can come up with any additional scores for women's NCAA Division I hockey. As we went over from scores from yesterday, let's see if we can find out anything else here. So the scoreboard, women's Division I NCAA scoreboard for today, the 19th. Lindenwood beat RIT by a score of 2-1 today. Mercyhurst versus Syracuse was postponed. Clarkston shut out Princeton by a score of 1-0. It was Quinnipiac beating St. Lawrence 5-2. Northeastern, number 8 Northeastern is bleeding Holy Cross 3-2 with 2:22 left to go in the third. It's a final. Number 13 Providence beat the Maine Black Bears by a score of 5-3. Boston University beat number 12 Connecticut 5-2. It was Boston College beating New Hampshire 3-2. No score reported yet as St. Elsam and St. Michael's just dipping off. It's a final. Franklin Pierce beat Sacred Heart by a score of 2-1. It was LIU beating Stonehill, sweeping them 3-2. Yale beat Penn State. Yale number 6, Penn State number 11. Yale beat them 2-1. It was Rensselaer Polytechnic beating Post by a score of 9-0. Minnesota Duluth, number 7 Minnesota Duluth, shut out Harvard by a score of 9-0. St. Thomas and Minnesota State just tipping off over at the Mayo Clinic Health System event. It was Ohio State beating Bemidji State 7-2, and it was a 3-3 final from Leban Arena. Wisconsin and Minnesota, number 1 Minnesota, number 3 Wisconsin, couldn't settle it. And the Red Wings, by the way, Kubalik scores, and the Red Wings are now up 5-1 on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Well, the Red Wings having their way in Columbus. Hopefully the Michigan football team can have their way next weekend, but unfortunately it's probably not going to be that easy, but looking forward to a good game there. Well, 6 minutes and 30 seconds counting down here in the second intermission. Michigan up 3-0 here at the end of the second. And it is that second intermission, so you know what time it is. It's time for I Can't Turn You Loose.
Well, good afternoon and welcome once again to the Michigan Amphitheater. You know, so much of the music we hear today is this pre-programmed electronic disco. You never get a chance to hear master bluesmen practicing their craft. By the year 2006, the music now known as the blues will exist only in the classical record department of your local public library. And so, this afternoon, while we still can, let us welcome from Ann Arbor, Michigan, Gary Lewis and his blues band. Gary Lewis and his blues band.
Both teams back out on the ice looking for a big third period here. Michigan has the 3-0 lead. A pair of goals by Lindahl, one at 12:57 and one at 1:17, propelled Michigan to a 2-0 lead. Then Simmer put in the third goal at 38.9 seconds left to go. Michigan hoping for a good, perfect third period here, trying to put pressure on Utah and close this out. They do have a big game tomorrow, 10:30 Mountain Time, 12:30 Eastern Time versus UMass. UMass has won both games so far. They won 14-1 versus Montana State. I believe that was the last score I saw back behind us, but UMass winning. So Michigan versus UMass. Michigan would love to have a good third period here and have two undefeated teams play each other, but they can't look forward. Send it ahead. Michigan at their own blue line. Evans has it poked away as Hansen trying to bring it in. Hansen, Cruikshank, and Kistner, the top line, who has been very, very good for Utah. Evans, top of the far circle, shot, and Griswold with the save. 19:41 left to go here in the third. Again, 3-0, Michigan with the lead. 27 shots on goal by the Wolverines, 11 by the Utah Utes. Face-off in the far face-off circle. Gargiulo in there versus Island Eichel. That comes back right into the neutral zone. Gathered in and backhanded deep by Michigan. Collected. Now coming ahead with it is Hendry. Hendry moves it down the far boards. Coming in, Harris sends it back behind the Michigan goal. Whistle there. Offsides the call. Now 6-1. Red Wings over the Blue Jackets as Bertuzzi put one in. The Red Wings just really having their way in Columbus. Gargiulo wins it ahead to Proctor. That comes back. Michigan has it. Levinson feeds it from the top of the far circle. Through the neutral zone, over to Proctor, who gains the zone. High slot with a shot that just goes wide. In along the far board, Stevenson sweeps it back to the far point, held in by Matthews with a shot that deflected off of his skate. In along the near boards, Goldberg holds it in, trying to fire it over. And kept and sent ahead by Bai, but not able to get it out of the zone. Proctor in the slot, gets tangled up with Bai, and puck sitting there. Now Amel Eichel feeds it in along the far boards of the neutral zone. DeCreasy has it just at her own blue line, sends it. Cruikshank's coming off the bench, brings it ahead. DeCreasy has to tip that away. Cruikshank's had a really good scoring opportunity at the end of the second. If not for DeCreasy, there would have had a really good one here in the third. That shot by McCain got blocked out in front, bringing it. Michigan sends it in along the near boards. Here comes Simmer. Simmer gains his own top of the near circle with the shot blocker. Saved by Griswold into the far corner. Cruikshanks with it there. Matthews holds it in at the blue line, sends it in along the M boards. Simmer picking it up back behind the goal. And swept in along the near boards. Matthews trying to grab it. That's sent ahead by Hansen. Hansen trying to feed Cruikshanks. Bryce trying to knock it away. That puck loose on the far circle. Shot! Ponith with the save. That at the near point, held in by Weber. Swept all around the boards outside the far circle. And tipped there by Beck. Comes back underneath the near circle. Katie German puts it in along the near boards. Island Eichel able to hold it in. Now Katie German trying to get it away from Harris. That comes all the way back to the far point. Nobody home as the Utes were getting a change. Hendry skates back, top of a far circle of her own zone. Wouldn't settle down. She fires it all the way back. That will be icing, and they'll head back into the Utah zone. 17:30 left to go here in the third. Michigan up 3-0 over the Utes. As we said, second game of three here at the Beehive Classic for your Wolverines. Be sure to check in 12:30 tomorrow, Eastern Time, 10:30 Mountain Time. For Michigan UMass. Malashevsky wins that back, top of the far circle, shot got deflected. That comes back to the near point and into the neutral zone. Bringing it ahead is Amel Eichel. Amel Eichel has it and knocked back into the neutral zone. Island Eichel puts it back deep as Fish has it back behind her own goal. All the way back to the Michigan blue line. That brought ahead. Michigan puts a bouncing puck into the near corner. Chasing over to get it. Tori has it on the near circle coming in. Evans with a shot and she puts it in. Bar down as it hit the crossbar and went in. Evans makes it 4-0. Michigan with the lead as the Utah just couldn't get it out of the zone. Evans able to grab it, go over on the slot and fire it in. And at 16:55, Michigan with a 4-0 lead. The puck at the blue line. Bringing it over is Bye feeds it ahead. Here comes Kistner. Kistner outside the near circle of the Michigan zone. Kistner goes back behind the Michigan goal. Rubin trying to pull it away from there. Kistner sends it back to the far point to Stevenson. And puck loose. Stevenson trying to hold it in. That slips past. Stevenson retreats to her own blue line. Stevenson stops, fires it down the far boards. That's going to be all the way back deep into the Michigan zone. Icing waved off. They'll say Matthews could have played that. Matthews underneath the near circle. Over to Gargiulo. Gargiulo has that poked away by Hansen. Loose. Kistner with it in the slot. Knocked away. Crookshanks outside the far circle. Crookshank into the far corner. And loose back behind the Michigan goal. And comes back to the near point. Nobody home, so it slips back into the neutral zone. Bye with it. At her own blue line. Bye. Trying to avoid pressure by Proctor. 16 minutes left to go here in the third. 4-0. Michigan with the lead. Battle for it as that comes outside the near circle in the Michigan zone. Swept by Proctor back behind her own goal. In along the far boards. Goldberg has it poked away. Right back underneath the near circle. Michigan brings it ahead as Gargiulo feeds it into the neutral zone. Intercepted by Beck. Beck gains the Michigan zone. Top of the far circle. Beck. Gargiulo poking that away. Beck with a centering attempt goes right through the slot. Outside the near circle. Simmer bringing it ahead. Simmer down the near boards. Eileen Eichel has it. Banks it off the far boards. And over to Harris. Harris trying to get it out of the zone. Held in. As Matthews trying to get a backhanded shot. That knocked away. Good defense in the slot by McCain. The puck still in the zone. Trying to grab it is Matthews on the far circle. She gets tangled up and goes down. Simmer has it in along the end boards. Simmer trying to avoid pressure by Eileen Eichel. Now here comes a breakaway coming down Yarrow. That pulled away by Katie German. Good job by Katie German to knock it away from Yarrow. Now that puck, top of the near circle. That shot fired wide. As DeCreasy gets it away from Keurig, that fired right back into the Michigan zone. That will be icing as it was fired from the wrong side of the center ice. 14:38 left to go here in the third. 4-0. Michigan with the lead. A trio of goals in the second. And one more in the third here by Evans. Malashevsky in to take the face off. Keurig on the other side. That comes. Swept back to the far point as Goldman chases it. The puck in along the end boards. Underneath the near circle. Michigan controls into the slot as there's a shot by Goldman. And Goldman scores the goal. Goldman makes it 5-0. That at 14:23, Goldman gives Michigan a 5-goal lead. Rubin in to take the face-off versus Hansen at center ice. And puck knocked away at the blue line. Michigan puts it in along the far boards as Rubin sent it over and sent back deep by Evans. Stopped by Griswold, right back behind her own goal. Feeds it in along the far boards to Crookshanks. That knocked back down. Fish had it at her own blue line. Now Evans trying to hold it in. That pulled back over. Sent in along the far boards. Crookshanks over her own blue line. Crookshanks over center ice. That deflects back behind the Michigan goal. Goldberg has it there. Goldberg. That tipped in along the near boards. Back into the neutral zone, in along the near boards. Here comes Lindahl. Lindahl has 2 goals so far today. Lindahl on the far circle. She tries to backhand it out in front. Stevenson knocks it down. In the slot, Gargiulo trying to get to it. Wouldn't settle down. Now Goldberg sends it in along the far boards. Kolwich with a shot that deflects. Good save as Lindahl has it. Trying to poke and press in. Trying to Prince was Kolwich. That pulled back by Gargiulo. Gargiulo in along the far boards. Gargiulo comes down the far side of the ice over the blue line, trying to feed it ahead. Here comes Eliason. Eliason at the far point. Centering attempt got knocked down by the Utes and comes back in along the far boards. Michigan collects it at their own blue line. Feeding it ahead was Levinson. Loose knocked down, bringing it in as here comes Island Eichel. Island Eichel outside the near circle. Kolwich trying to knock it away. Right out to center ice. Here comes Eliason. Eliason, top of the far circle. Eliason with a shot that got deflected. Eliason still down on her stomach as she's slow to get up. The puck into the near corner. As Eliason she's skating all right off to the bench, and it's a big smile on her face, so she appears to be all right. Face-off comes to the near face-off circle just outside of the Utah zone. That puck tipped over by Pimentel in along the far boards. Bryce sends it ahead. That in along the M boards, right back behind Griswold. Pimentel ricochets it off the near boards over to Kistner. Kistner has it in against the boards, trying to peel that away. Michigan with it as Matthews. High slot. Matthews drop pass. That intercepted. Coming ahead with it. Hansen gets it over to Kistner. Kistner. Drop pass back to Hansen, top of the near circle. That shot goes wide into the far corner. Kistner puts it right back behind Ponith. 11:58 left to go here in the third. Michigan with the 5-0 lead. Matthews has it in the far corner. Matthews has that, now bringing it at Michigan down the far boards as Bryce loses the edge but gets it back. Now Matthews feeds it. Here comes Simmer. Simmer gains the zone. That outside to the near circle. Gathered in by Beck. Beck goes right back behind Griswold. In along the far boards. Beck feeds it ahead. And coming with it is Amel Eichel has it. McCarthy banks it off the near boards. Intercepted by McCain. McCain feeds it into the near corner of the Michigan zone. McCarthy in a foot race trying to get to it before Amel Eichel. Amel Eichel lost an edge. That into the near corner. Harris trying to pull it off of the near boards. That comes back to the near point. Here comes Michigan. Bringing at it Swanson. Swanson gains the zone at the near circle. Swanson into the near corner. Battling with Fish back behind. Island Eichel back over to Fish. Fish trying to feed it out. That into the far corner. Swanson trying to pull it away. The puck on the far circle. Poked back by Hendry and fired ahead by Fish. 10:46 left to go here in the third. 5-0 Michigan with the lead. And puck on the far circle coming over. Swanson chasing it. Now there's a shot as looking for a hat trick was Lindahl. She tipped it out in front. The puck back to the blue line, held in by Michigan as Goldman puts it into the slot. Island Eichel gets it back into the neutral zone. Malashevsky puts it in along the far boards. That back, right back behind Griswold. Lindahl has it there. Into the far corner for Crookshanks, bringing ahead the far boards. Crookshanks over to Hansen. Hansen has it along the far boards of the neutral zone, but Evans steals it away, goes the other direction. Evans, top of the far circle. She was looking for a centering attempt over to Lindahl, but that knocked away by Crookshanks. Now Hansen has it in the far corner of her own zone. Puck underneath the near circle, bringing it ahead is Hendry. Hendry, as that missed the streaking player, the Utah player in the neutral zone. That'll be icing and come right back into the Utah zone. 9 minutes, 48 seconds left to go here in the third. 5-0, Michigan with the lead. Face-off is going to be in the far face-off circle. That is to Griswold's right. Gargiulo in to take the face-off. Hansen on the other side. The puck. High slot, shot by Katie German. That tipped away as Kistner was trying to get to it. Now Gargiulo trying to grab it underneath her skates. The puck awkwardly wouldn't settle down. Now here comes Michigan from their own blue line. They have fed ahead. Bai has it outside the near circle of her own zone. Bai trying to avoid pressure by Eliason. Glad to see she's out there skating well. No lasting effects from That spill. And coming ahead. Knocked down. Proctor gets it back over to Gargiulo. Gargiulo brings it ahead. Gargiulo in the near circle. That pulled back over. By with it. Back behind her own goal. Feeds it ahead. Coming down the far boards is Hansen. Hansen sends it deep. That's stopped by Ponith, who covers it up. Ponith with an excellent save. Gets her glove on top of it. 9:02 left to go. Here in the third, Michigan up 5-0 here at the Beehive Showcase. Here at the Salt Lake City Sports Complex. Right on the campus of the Utah Utes. Here comes DeCreasy. Down the far boards, DeCreasy over center ice. DeCreasy trying to feed it ahead to Simmer. That just out of reach. Simmer underneath the near circle. Trying to feed it out in front for Matthews. That comes back to the far point. Levinson with the shot from there. Outside the near circle it goes. McCarthy holding it into the near corner. And to feed it out in front. That comes into the slot. Shot there by Levinson. Deflected off a defender. Matthews in along the end boards. Battling down there with McCain. Puck slips back into the neutral zone. Bringing ahead is Levinson. Levinson, top of the far circle. Levinson with the shot. McCain again, another good block. Here comes Crookshanks down the near boards of the neutral zone. DeCreasy trying to poke that away as Simmer got her stick in the gears. That fired ahead. Levinson trying to get to it. Pulled back. As swinging it over. Coming back behind is Eileen Eichel. He drops it back over on the far side to Beck. Beck feeds it into the neutral zone. Michigan intercepts. Goldberg feeds it ahead over to Swanson. That brought into the slot as Beck again fires it down into the neutral zone and along the far boards. That chipped ahead as Swanson trying to grab it. Fired back deep into the Michigan zone where Goldberg has it. Back behind Ponith. Sending it in along the near boards. That gathered in by Pimentel. Fires it into Michigan zone, but Michigan brings it ahead. Here comes Kolwich down the ice. Kolwich gets it over. Michigan has to touch back up to avoid an offsides. Bringing it in is Swanson. Swanson in along the near boards. That puck slips right back behind Griswold. Pimentel trying to pull it away from Malashevsky there. 7 minutes, 14 seconds left to go here in the third. 5-0 Michigan with the lead. Now, that puck sent ahead by Hendry over on the far circle. Bringing it is Swanson. Swanson feeds it into the near corner of the Utah zone, and Michigan goes for a line change. Christensen has the puck right back behind Griswold, trying to get it away from Pimentel. Now Malashevsky out in front, trying to get it over to Evans. Evans was looking for her second goal. That grab top of the far circle, trying to hold it in was Katie German. That slipped right past. Katie German backhands it back as that is sticked outside the near circle by Griswold. The puck in the neutral zone and along the near boards. Katie German back over to Evans. Evans drops it back. Bryce has it right back behind the Michigan goal. Bryce feeds it along the far boards. Michigan brings it ahead. That knocked by Emil Eichel right at the Michigan blue line. As Carrick has that block, deflected by Katie German, who tries to pull it into the Utah zone. Save by Griswold onto Katie German, shot from the blue line. And fired ahead, coming down to Mel Eichel. Skates down the far boards, gains the Michigan zone, fires it, and Ponith with the save. 5 minutes, 54 seconds left to go here in the third. 5-0 Michigan with the lead. One more game for these Wolverines in the Beehive Showcase. Tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern Time, 10:30 Mountain Time versus UMass, ranked in the top 10. Shot right off the face-off, got blocked. Michigan brings it around the near boards. Here comes Proctor. Proctor down the near boards, over center ice. Proctor outside the near circle. Proctor. And crossing pass in along the end boards. Chased by Hendry. Hendry has it into the near corner. Hendry spinning over with it. Hendry outside the near circle. Hendry as that's lifted back into the neutral zone. Eliason has it on the near circle, bringing it ahead. Eliason down the far boards, that lifted back as Fish has it top of the far circle, intercepted by Proctor. Proctor, top of the near circle with a shot. And blocked out in front by, bringing it the other direction is Hansen over center ice. Hansen outside the far circle in the Michigan zone, stops there. Hansen, top of the far circle with the shot, saved by Poneth, and put right back behind by Cruikshank. And moved back to the far point. Able to hold it in there was By. As that puck shot just wide by Kistner. Kistner put it into the near corner. Proctor trying to pull it away. Battling over there with Pimentel. Now in along the far boards. Levinson brings it ahead. Levinson goes over own blue line. Levinson over center ice. Levinson lifts it down the ice. And stopped there by right back behind Griswold. 4 minutes, 21 seconds left to go in the third. 5-0. Michigan with the lead. Eileen Eichel feeds it ahead as that knocked away from Emil Eichel. The puck in along the far boards. Back over to Stevenson. Stevenson has it. Moves it underneath the near circle to By in her own zone. That puck back into the neutral zone right at center ice where DeCreasy collects it. DeCreasy knocks it off the far boards. Matthews trying to get to it, but that lifted by Stevenson right back into the neutral zone. DeCreasy on the near circle with a shot that got blocked. Lifted right back underneath the near circle. Matthews sends it over to Simmer in along the end board. Simmer tries to fire it back out into the slot. That knocked away, but Goldberg holds it in at the near point. 3 minutes, 33 seconds left to go here in the third. The puck outside the near circle as a quartet of pairs battling there. Matthews with the shot, saved by Griswold. And pulled away in along the far boards by Emil Eichel. Sent right back behind Griswold into the near corner of the Utah zone. Gathered in there by backhands it as that's launched down by Nielsen. Right back behind Griswold. Griswold stops it there. Stevenson puts it along the boards and into the neutral zone. Bryce has it at her own blue line. Bryce over to Katie German. Katie German brings it back ahead. That knocked down into the near corner. Back behind. Come. Oh, sorry. It is not Griswold in goal anymore, as that is going to be D'Antonano in goal. That comes right back behind. Make sure we give credit where credit's due to D'Antonano in goal. That blocked out in front. Loose. Gathering it in is Kistner. That held in at the far point by McCain. Fed ahead. Now Michigan coming down the far boards. Bringing it in into the far corner is Swanson. Swanson in along the end boards. Hansen firing it ahead. That knocks off of the far boards. Bringing it back. Levinson spins over now. Evans fires it back. Trying to feed it ahead was Beck into the neutral zone, but that's sent right back by Levinson into the far corner. 1 minute, 45 seconds left to go. The puck in along the end boards. High slot for McCarthy. McCarthy with the shot. And swept away by D'Antonano. Into the far corner. Lindahl with it there. Lindahl with a pair of goals. That into the far corner. Rubin spins with it. Puts it right back behind D'Antonano. Outside the near circle. McCarthy trying to hold it in. Emil Eichel feeds it in along the near boards. Here comes Eileen Eichel. Eileen Eichel over center. Eileen Eichel. High slot and Poneth with the save. 1 minute, 4 seconds left to go. Michigan up 5-0. Face off in the near face off circle with 1 minute, 1 second left to go. That to Poneth's right. Michigan looking to close out this game. Hansen, drop pass over to Kistner. That knocked away. Here comes Eliasson. Is that back in along the end boards? Eliasson has it in the far corner. That backhanded out in front and sticked away by D'Antonano. Kolwich has it outside the far circle now. Gargiulo at the far point, trying to fire it back deep. In along the end boards. Fish has it there. 40 seconds left to go. Puck loose. Outside the far circle, Gargiulo trying to keep it back deep. 33 seconds left to go. There's a shot from the far point, knocked away. In along the near boards as Utah bringing it ahead. Kistner over to Hansen. Hansen sends it right back behind Ponith. 18 seconds left to go. Utah would just love to get a goal here to get that goose egg off the board as they feed it back to the far point. And deflected into the far corner for Hansen. Hansen working against Matthews. At right back behind Ponith. Gargiulo has it there. Hansen back outside, and that will do it. Michigan with the win, 5-0. Ponith with her 6th shutout of the season. Just in case you wondered if Michigan has one of the best goaltenders in the nation. Excellent job on the other side. Utah battled hard, but Michigan comes away with the victory. Again, tomorrow we will be on the air, 10:30 Mountain Time, 12:30 Eastern Time, versus a top 10 team, UMass, for a battle of top 10 ranked opponents as the best tradition in all of sports, the post-game handshake. Thank you so much to all of you for watching, cheering wherever you are at. We are so very grateful. And we will be back tomorrow. For my camera person, Christina Wiseman, my name is Mark Wiseman. Thank you, and good night.